What is up, guys? It is the Muddy Puddle Squad here. Welcome back to a brand new video. If you guys are new to the channel, welcome, and please do not forget to click that big red subscribe button. It really helps out the channel a lot, and you guys do not miss out on my content. But anyway, in this video, I wanted to talk about why I hardly ever talk about, or almost never talk about, the Sega Saturn on my channel. I'm still getting over a cold, so that's why I sound like this. But anyway, yes, I'm going to talk about why I hardly ever bring up the Sega Saturn on my channel. So if you guys don't know what the Sega Saturn is, the Sega Saturn is a video game console that came out, it was released in 1994 in Japan, and it did not make it to the United States until 1995, but it was released in America. So the Sega Saturn is considered one of Sega's commercial failures, because it did not sell well. There was a lot of negative criticism about this console, and it didn't really have that many decent games on it. That's why I really don't talk about it. It's not really that great of a console, but, I was thinking about possibly adding it to my collection one day. It's hard to buy a console that I'm only going to buy a couple of games for. I will be making another video talking about games that you should get for your Sega Saturn. In my opinion, I'm just going to give you the quick rundown. I think Nights into Dreams is probably the best one. But yeah, that's why I hardly ever talk about the Sega Saturn on this channel. It's just a really weird console overall. I mean, there's just a lot of weird things about it. You guys can go research it. There's a whole, what they call it, there's a whole, rabbit hole full of stuff that you can find on the Sega Saturn. And what's interesting is that it was actually released, in a slightly different color in Japan. So that's actually pretty cool. And there's even two different models of it. There's an F10 01, and then there's a 01 something, I don't know, but there's two different models of it. It doesn't really change that much about the console itself. I mean, it still plays the same games. It's just one has slightly different buttons, slightly different, electronics. The difference is so slight, it doesn't really matter which model you go for. And if you guys aren't 100% sure, the Sega Saturn is a disc console. It did not take cartridges. There are no unique cartridges for it, I should say. You can put cartridges in it, but they're more like action replay cartridges, cartridges with cheats on them. They're not actual game carts like the Nintendo 64 and the original Nintendo take. But anyway, there's the small history, I guess you could say, on the Sega Saturn. And that's pretty much the reason why I don't talk about it, is that it overall was not a great console. There was a couple of good games on it, but overall it wasn't, it's not a console worth getting right away in your collection. I would put the Sega Saturn at the bottom of the priority list, and that's kind of what I've done for my collection as well. I mean, I've got tons of consoles, but I've never owned a Saturn. So, thanks for checking out this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I will see all of you guys in the next one. And like I always say, don't forget to subscribe.